Hey guys, I'm back with another video. This time I'm talking about Mortal Kombat. Now this video will be about why the original Mortal Kombat, franchise and games was the best before NetherRealm took over and screwed it all up. Now what I mean by the original Mortal Kombat games is I will be talking about Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 4, Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon. Those are the original games in the timeline that I'll be talking about. Like, even the bad games in the original timeline, like Armageddon and would I say Deadly Alliance was a bad? No, I wouldn't say Deadly Alliance was a bad game. I will get into Deadly Alliance, but the new timeline is terrible. Like Mortal Kombat 1 and 11, it's all just like, there's people out there who like it, and props off. Like, if you like it, fair enough. But I don't like it. I don't like how they retcon a lot of characters. I just, in the new Mortal Kombat 1, they made Scorpion and Sub-Zero like the same character. So Scorpion, the Scorpion that we grew up with doesn't exist. It's so weird. Like, why are they doing stuff like that? Like, it's just awful. So let's just get straight into it, and we will be going from game to game. So we will go from Mortal Kombat 1 all the way up to Armageddon, which a lot of people don't like Armageddon. I'm one of those people who don't like Armageddon, and of course I will explain why I don't like Armageddon, but I will also explain why I would prefer Armageddon to like Mortal Kombat X. So stay tuned for that. But Mortal Kombat 1, 1995, in the year it came out, like back in the 90s, Mortal Kombat 1 it was like a hit. Like, because I think this is one of the first few games that was like this violent. And it was just, see, Mortal Kombat 1 was basic, but it's the first ever game, so it is allowed to be basic. Each character have one fatality, and the story is they all go to, they all compete in a tournament to like save the realms, and it's basic fun but straight to the point. It doesn't get complicated, unlike with the new timeline when where time travel's involved and ultra universe or whatever MK11 wanted to do. But that's what I really like Mortal Kombat 1. Very fun game and very good rivalry with Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Liu Kang defeated Shang Tsung. Now, one thing I should mention, a quick thing I should mention, is the Mortal Kombat movie. One thing that I really like about that movie is that I liked how Johnny Cage was the one that defeated Goro, because I can easily be wrong on this, but in the original games it was Liu Kang who defeated Goro and Shang Tsung. I don't mind Liu Kang defeating Shang Tsung, but I'll admit I kind of prefer it. If I liked it more when Johnny Cage defeated Goro in the movie, but of course it was never clear if it was Liu Kang or Johnny Cage that defeated, Goro in the game. But I'm just going to assume that's Liu Kang, which I don't mind. But I like Liu Kang, so it's alright. And I like the Sonya Blade and Kano rivalry, and the secret character of Reptile. The first, I can easily be wrong in this, but Reptile is like the first secret character in any video game, maybe fighting game, but I know that he was like the first secret character. The birth of a legend. Oof. Now, of course I will recommend playing Mortal Kombat 1. I mean, I have like a local arcade game, not game, shop, that me and my friends go to, and we always we like to play Mortal Kombat 1. It's really, really, really fun. Now let's talk about Mortal Kombat 2. Now, in the original Mortal Kombat games, just, timeline, there were 3 games that were made from, the arcade. Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3. A lot of people, including me, think Mortal Kombat 2 was just the best out of the 3. Like, everything about Mortal Kombat 2 was just perfect. The soundtrack, the characters, the fatalities. They introduced, some new finishers like babality, friendships. It was just Mortal Kombat 2 was just Mortal Kombat 2 was just, it was at its peak. Like, oof. Like, I can't be the only one who loves, like, the Mortal Kombat 2 just select, song. When you have to select the characters. I feel like in the newer Mortal Kombat games, like, the music there is just, it's over the top, and I don't like the announcer. Like, the announcer, I feel like Mortal Kombat 2 has, like, the best announcer when you win a battle, but in the newer Mortal Kombat games, the announcer just sounds like he's on drugs. Like, no, I don't like the new announcer in the newer Mortal Kombat games. It's one of the reasons why I fell out of love with, like, the newer games. It's just, it tries to be something else and it just doesn't work. I'll have to save that for a separate video. I can't rant now about the new timeline. We'll talk about the old one. Now Mortal Kombat 2, after Liu Kang defeated Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn wanted to murk Shang Tsung, but Shang Tsung came up with a plan to trick his enemies into going to Outworld to compete in a tournament out there. So Shao Kahn can kill them with his own bare hands, and they kidnap Sonya. Yeah, they kidnap Sonya, and that's why Sonya isn't available to play in this game. And in what stage was it? Yeah, in the arena stage, where you have to fight Shao Kahn, Control and Shang Tsung, you can see Sonya there chained with Kano. Now, I don't know why Kano was also chained up. Like I know that Sonya was there because, they want to keep her captive, but I don't know why Kano was there. But, of course, after doing some research, I found out that, in the original Mortal Kombat games, in MK1, it turns out that Sonya and Kano, out of the 7 characters, were the characters that were played the least, so they took them both out. So that's why Sonya and Kano weren't in there. It kind of sucks. Well, for Kano at least, I really like Kano. But MK2 also had secret characters as well. They had Smoke, Jade. I wouldn't say would Noob Saibot count? Yeah, Noob Saibot does count, yeah. Yeah, Noob Saibot does count. And the semi-boss of this game is Kentaro. I love Kentaro. It just sucks that he just doesn't get the screen time that he deserves. It really annoys me because, yeah, I will admit Goro is better than Kentaro, but Kentaro just not cooler and he was just hard to defeat. And Kentaro had the potential to be better than Goro, but for some reason, Ed Boon and, the NetherRealm writers always favour Goro over Kentaro, which sucks. But now the reason why I love MK2, like, the story in this game is amazing. So in the original, Mortal Kombat 1, Scorpion kills Sub-Zero, but Sub-Zero comes back, but this isn't the same Sub-Zero. This is his younger brother called Kuai Liang. No, I didn't butcher that name. Kuai Liang, yeah. Well, okay, I kind of butchered that. But he's Sub-Zero's younger brother, and he came to avenge his older brother's defeat, his death. But Scorpion saw Sub-Zero, the younger one, spare someone's life, and he knows that this is a different Sub-Zero, so he swears to be his protector, and he will, protect him from anyone, as a way to atone for killing, his older brother. But, in the later games, they changed it for him to no longer do harm to him. Which was really, really good. That was a very good character building, moment. Unlike in a new timeline when, stuff like that just doesn't happen in a new timeline. It's just chaos happens in a new timeline. Well, in the old one, it was more fleshed out. There was more games. And plus, I loved all of the new characters in MK2. There's Baraka. He is a kata kata. You know what I'm gonna say, kata. What the fuck can't I say kata? You know what I mean. I don't know. For some reason I can't say it. Not normally I can, but you know, he's basically like Baraka in the original timeline. I will admit, like, he was kind of like a test dummy in this timeline, but he was still badass, if you know what I mean. Or like in a new timeline where he just gets beaten up by literally everyone. Oof, the new timeline with the villains. Oof, I'll have to save that for a separate video, or else I'll just lose my head. Oh my god. Oh yeah, another reason why Mortal Kombat 2 was just amazing. It's just the stage. The stages were just amazing, and the soundtracks. I know I said this about 100 times now, but the soundtrack was perfect. I love the original soundtrack. The soundtrack in the newer Mortal Kombat games are okay. They don't really stand out to me, but you know, the soundtrack in this game was amazing. The female characters in this game, Melina, Katana, you know, they're alright. And Reptile, you know, this is his first play for, you know, his first appearance. Mortal Kombat 2 was one of the few games where I liked Reptile because he was more of a human ninja instead of just this reptile creature. Of course, they explain it, but Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 are like the only games where I like Reptile. After that, I hated him. I can't lie. I hated him. And you could play as Shang Tsung, because in the original, you know, Mortal Kombat 1, Shang Tsung was the final boss, but he was an old guy there. But yeah, Shang Tsung was an old guy, but after, you know, Shang Tsung came up with that plan to lure his enemies to Outworld, Shao Kahn basically just, you know, how do I say this? Shao Kahn basically just made him, he just made him younger and more powerful. And I don't know if I'm the only one here, but I think Mortal Kombat 2 Shang Tsung has like the best design. You know, he has like this wrestler, you know, design, and I just really like it. Yeah, I really like it. I wish that they kind of kept it, you know, for like the newer Mortal Kombat game, because he just looked really cool, you know, with the wrestler thing. I love Shang Tsung. I love him. I love the story here. Oof, Mortal Kombat 2 is a classic. One quick thing I should mention is that I think MK2, out of like the 3 games, has like the best finishers, if that makes sense. Of course, the finishers in MK1, it's the first game. You know, some were good, some were bad. I'm looking at you, Liu Kang. But I feel like the finishers in MK2 were just so much better and just better looking. Because I will get to MK3, because as much as I like MK3, I had issues. Well, I believe that MK2 was just perfect. I can't name anything bad about it. Like the fighting engine, the soundtrack, it's so good. Like, of course, as a kid, I always loved to play as Johnny Cage, because he was just, oh wait, no, I forgot. There is a bad thing about this game, the AI. No matter what version you play, the AI is just, oof. Sometimes it was just uncontrollable. Like, as much as I love this game, the AI is just, it's ridiculous. Like, it makes you just see life in a different way. That's just a better way to subscribe it. Oh yeah, another thing I should mention is Kung Lao. I love Kung Lao. You know, this was his first appearance, because the original Kung Lao, like his ancestor, got killed by, you know, the great Kung Lao got killed by Goro. And I missed the opportunity is in Shang Tsung, in one of his fatalities, he can, you know, he turned into Kataro, a secret fatality. But I feel like Shang Tsung should also have a fatality when he turns into the great Kung Lao. Now, imagine how cool that would be. Because, you know, it's kind of annoying that the great Kung Lao kind of just, you know, he never gets talked about. I mean, he does in the newer games, but that's the whole disaster and just a whole stupid story for another day. But we talk about the original timeline. In the original timeline, the Great Kung Lao just doesn't exist, basically. But I love Kung Lao. And Kung Lao has the best fatality in this game. Well, one of the best fatalities. Oh, he's so... Oh, I love Kung Lao. I just love Mortal Kombat 2. I love everything about it. That like this arena stage that you're seeing right here, it's just one of this. Like it's one of my favorite stages just in fighting games because you're kind of like the underdog and the fans are cheering and booing against you. It's amazing. I love this game so much. Like I like all of the other versions. Like it's so good. Ah, I love this game. Ah, it's so sad to see how of what Mortal Kombat become, especially since MK2 was just their highest point. But again, separate video. I have to save that for a separate video. We'll talk about the original timeline. Now, I can't be the only one who thinks that Kitaro was just, impossible to fight, because it took me like 10 or 15 attempts, but that's just because the AI is just they are just something. Oof. But let's get to MK3, where things get a lot more interesting. Mortal Kombat 3. Now, out of all of the Mortal Kombat, games in the original timeline we will be talking about, Mortal Kombat 3, we will be talking about it the most because there's just so much to cover. So much to cover in this game. There's just so much happening. Like, weirdly enough, out of like Mortal Kombat 1, 2 and 3, I prefer, Mortal Kombat 2 obviously, but I kind of prefer Mortal Kombat 1 over Mortal Kombat 3, and of course I will explain why and everything. But let's talk about the story. So after Liu Kang defeated Shao Kahn was kind of butthurt about it, so he decided to take Earthrealm by force. He came up with the plan to resurrect Sindel, and he basically used her as just an excuse to just conquer Earthrealm and just to take everyone's souls. So he just went completely just ape on everyone, like ape shit on everyone. The more I think about it, just like Shao Kahn in the original timeline was so cool. Like he came up with all of these plans, and in the new timeline he just again, save it for another video. Just know that the Shao Kahn in the new timeline is awful, and the Shao Kahn here he is a force to be reckoned with. But some of the highlights of Mortal Kombat 3 are the Cyber Lin Kuei. So Sub-Zero basically, he betrayed his clan, but that's because they wanted to turn everyone into just cyborgs, like soulless cyborgs. So it is kind of understandable why Sub-Zero wasn't, he didn't want to be turned into a cyborg. So, I do understand his side of it. Ooh, should I mention that? Wait, one thing I should mention is that there aren't any secret characters here, because the thing with Mortal Kombat 3 is that there are multiple versions of the game, and I don't know what the best version is, because of course it's one version where they have all of the characters, and it's just almost all of the versions are good. I will repeat, almost all of the versions are good. There's some dodgy versions, it's a hit or miss. Of course the original arcade version is best because it had everything. Now, Mortal Kombat 3 was one of the first games to introduce combos, which is just endless hits, and I can easily be wrong on this, but it was done unintentionally, which is just crazy. I feel like that's one of the things the original timeline has over the new ones, because it's just like stuff like this, like new characters being created out of glitches and all these combos. It's honestly just amazing. And the new characters in Mortal Kombat 3, I honestly liked all of them. They were all great. I love Nightwolf. I love Striker. Not the biggest fan of his design. Cabal was amazing. Ermac was great. Of course, depending on which alternate Mortal Kombat 3 version you're playing. And Classic Sub-Zero, great characters. As much as I love Mortal Kombat 3, of course, I feel like now I want to talk about some of the downsides of Mortal Kombat 3. And of course, I can easily be alone on this one, but I think the fatalities in Mortal Kombat 3 aren't good. I don't know, for me, they just seem lazy. Like, some of them, it's just the opponent just explodes into like 100 different bones. And the head decapitation, it's just not that good. I just felt like in Mortal Kombat 3 they got kind of lazy, because I felt like the more characters they added, the less damn they gave about the fatalities. It's just kind of annoying, but oh well. And another problem having Mortal Kombat 3 is just that it's not really Mortal Kombat 3. It's just, I feel like whenever it comes to adapting, Mortal Kombat, as like a movie or TV series, or as like a cartoon, I always feel like they skip right into Mortal Kombat 3. They do Mortal Kombat 1, they skip Mortal Kombat 2, and then they go straight into Mortal Kombat 3. And this isn't even me talking out my ass. Take Mortal Kombat Annihilation for example. The first movie told the story about Mortal Kombat 1, and then they skipped Mortal Kombat 2 and went straight to Mortal Kombat 3. I just feel like every live adaptation and even cartoon adaptation just skips to Mortal Kombat 3, and they completely forget about Mortal Kombat 2. It's just really, really annoying. Like, yeah, I get it. Mortal Kombat 3 just has that, world-ending story, and with all these characters and everything, but you can't forget about Mortal Kombat 2 for just like the fan favourite, for just like the best version. That can be really annoying. Something I want to mention is that the semi-boss, the sub-boss, is Kintaro, a centaur, which is basically just a new race, and he's like the only like centaur you can like play Mortal Kombat, well, so far at least. He had potential to be great. He did have potential. I mean, he's really cool in this game, but in Armageddon, that's a different story. Armageddon is just a completely just different story. But Mortal Kombat 3 was one of the last games. Well, not one of the last. It is the last game on the arcade, which is just because of course Mortal Kombat had to adapt and stuff like that. And honestly, I feel like Mortal Kombat 3, as much as I did enjoy it, I kind of disliked it because of I just felt like the writers just always use Mortal Kombat 3 as just, it's complicated to explain. It's really complicated to explain, but just know that Mortal Kombat 3 is great. This is just a personal thing I want to mention, but Mortal Kombat 3 was like, well, in the original timeline, was like the last game that Cabal was a good guy, because after this, Cabal, well, he turned evil again. I really liked how they handle it in this, well, in the original timeline, because in the newer timeline, it's just, even in the new timeline, it was just so unclear, because of course Cabal was killed. Of course, this is spoilers for Mortal Kombat, if you haven't watched Mortal Kombat 9, but Sindel basically just soloed just the whole Mortal Kombat crew, which is just, that's just a rant for another day. But she basically killed Cabal, and that was pretty much it. Of course, in Mortal Kombat 11, time travel bull crap and he came back to life. Well, he didn't come back to life, and then they lied to him saying it was Sonya who burned him alive, when it was Kentaro who burned him alive, and that's why he's evil. I know, it was really unclear on why he decided to turn evil back then, in that timeline. Well, here it made sense, because they kind of did Cabal dirty in that timeline. It's something I want to mention, because Cabal's like one of my favourite characters. I always love Cabal. He's great. I love his design. His fatalities were a bit dodgy, but you can't go wrong with Cabal.
Victory. Fatality. Finishing. Victory. Fatality.
Now, a quick thing I want to mention is that Mortal Kombat 3 has some secret characters. 3 secret characters that you can unlock and play. And those 3 characters are Ermac, who's amazing. Classic Sub-Zero, he's great, and Melina. So, what you have to do to unlock, those 3 characters is basically finish the game and enter in, a code. You need 2 controllers for this. And after you unlock, after you do that, you can play as those characters. But the downside is, if you turn off your console and turn it back on, you will have to do it again. They won't be there, which is really annoying. I feel like if you unlock, those characters, they should just stay, there, instead of having to do the whole thing again, because it can be it could be really annoying. But regardless of me saying that, I still take that over what they are doing in a new Mortal Kombat game for the secret characters. Because of course in the new timeline, Mortal Kombat 9 and onwards, that there aren't even any secret characters. There are what is called DLCs. I don't want to turn this into a rant, but I hate it. I hate DLCs. I just think they're just so stupid. Because now let me think of I'd rather have a bad Mortal Kombat character than have a DLC character. What I mean by that is, let me think of a bad Mortal Kombat character who's awful, who's a Mortal Kombat character that nobody likes. Sujinko. No, some people like Sujinko. Kira. I'd rather have Kira instead of someone like Predator or Freddy Krueger, because the only reason why a lot of people hate Kira is just that, she doesn't, she has potential to be cool. She does have that Harley Quinn soul to her, but it's just, she barely gets anything. And I'd rather have a character like that get some attention, because she adds to the overall story. A character like Predator, Predator's cool, but he doesn't add to the overall story, which is just really, really annoying. And another thing that I should mention, I'm getting off topic. No more DLC talks. Otherwise, this would just turn into a Mortal Kombat DLC rant. But just know that it was better back in the old school days than, it was better back in the 90s than with the current days, with all of the money and nonsense. Now let's move to Mortal Kombat 4. Now, a lot of people dislike this game. I can kind of see why. Now, I like Mortal Kombat 4. It was different, but I felt like it was different, but it worked. Because I liked how all of the characters had their own weapons. This is the only Mortal Kombat game where each character had their own personalised weapons. And I kind of wish that it came back in future Mortal Kombat games, which, spoilers, it doesn't come back. But I can understand why people dislike this game. I personally enjoyed it and had a fun time with it. Of course, the whole story is that there's an evil elder god called Shinnok, and he basically just, after Shao Kahn's defeat, Shinnok was just waiting, for the perfect time to strike, to screw everyone over. Now, one thing I do want to say is that I felt like Shinnok here, I don't know. Shell just didn't really feel like a boss, like a final boss here, if you know what I mean. Because if you look back, on Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, like, you know, Shang Tsung, like old Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn, they feel like, you know, bosses. But this was like the first Mortal Kombat game when you can actually play with like the final boss of the game, which I feel like doesn't really help the case, because, you know, the reason why Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung was just so, you know, were such good bosses that you couldn't play as them. I mean, unless you're playing some hacked version, but, you know, other than that, you can't. I don't know. She not just. I like Shinnok as a character, but as a boss, I just didn't feel like he was. You know, he wasn't that guy. And I felt like, and I will say this, I feel like in a newer timeline, like in the new Mortal Kombat games, they kind of did him justice. I'm talking about in terms of fighting him. Of course, as a character, they screwed him up in the newer timeline, but as a boss, he was good there. So they fixed one mistake, but they created another one, which was just kind of annoying. Like, I like Mortal Kombat 4, like, all of the characters were great. Well, oh no, I lie. I feel like this was just the beginning, like, just bad Mortal Kombat characters. Because, you know, like, the first 3 Mortal Kombat games, there weren't any bad Mortal Kombat characters. Like, I'm just talking about on their debut. Like, all of the characters in their debut were great until Mortal Kombat 4 and onwards, because, like, there were so many bad characters in this game. Like, Jarek is just... No, he just shouldn't exist. I mean, Tanya was... Weirdly enough, I actually do like Tanya. Of course, she was okay in this game, but this was just like the beginning of just terrible characters. And Kai, I'm just not even going to talk about Kai. I mean, weirdly enough, I have a soft spot for Raiko. Like a massive soft spot. It's complicated to explain. But of course, the secret characters in, you know, Mortal Kombat 4 / Gold. Mortal Kombat Gold is basically Mortal Kombat 4, but with like a few extra characters. Like, the secret characters are Noob Saibot. Noob Saibot. But the thing is, Noob Saibot was originally going to be in the game, and Ed Boon, for some reason, at the last minute, decided to change, you know, decided to put Raiko in the game instead of Noob Saibot. So that's why Noob Saibot has like unoriginal moves and just unoriginal fatalities, because for some reason Ed Boon wanted Raiko in the game. I mean, I don't hate Raiko, he's alright. As I said, I have a weird soft spot for Raiko. But the other secret character is Sector. Now, Sector is a beast in this game. I love Sector, he's amazing. Great character. And overall, great game. Like, I really do like the weapons. Like, each character having their own weapons. I felt like they should have brought that back, because it was really, really interesting. And one thing I can't get over is Jarek. Like, why does he exist? Like, he's literally just a Kano clone ripoff. But if that's the case, then why not just have Kano? Of course, I can easily be wrong here, but Kano died, like, around the end of Mortal Kombat 3. He died, so of course, I'm guessing that's why they didn't have, you know, Kano in the game. But he came back in Deadly Alliance, so why not just have Kano in this game? Or just have Cabal, or just don't have a Black Dragon character in this game, or just have New Cybot there instead. Like, I really hate his existence. And this is like the first Mortal Kombat game where I just didn't care about Reptile. Like, you know, Reptile was great in Mortal Kombat 3, like, but I feel like here I just started just not giving a damn about his existence. Like, his design here is just, I didn't like it. But sadly enough, it gets worse from here. Oh my god, one thing that I love about Mortal Kombat 4 is the endings. Because, you know, in every Mortal Kombat game, except for Mortal Kombat 4, you just get some dialogue and some clips, and that's it. But in Mortal Kombat 4, you get like a video ending, I will never understand why they didn't bring this back. It was so perfect. It actually, like, that was a good reason. They really need to bring back the endings in like future Mortal Kombat games, because the Mortal Kombat 4 endings, I can't stress this enough, were amazing. They were funny, cringy, like it was everything you can ask for. It was just perfect. Really wish they would bring that back. It was so perfect. Like, just in my opinion, I just think it was perfect. Like, I can, like, that's one of the reasons why I love Mortal Kombat 4 so much. Like, the ending, the weapons, of course the graphics is just, you know, they were trying something. It didn't particularly work, but, you know, it's a hit or a miss. A massive hit or a miss. And the final boss, the final boss of the game wasn't good, but the return of Goro was great. So there were positive and negatives about Mortal Kombat 4. Of course, I was kind of annoyed that Shang Tsung wasn't in this game, but of course he's in Deadly Alliance, which is just, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance is a controversial game, which we will be getting into in a bit. But just know that I would recommend Mortal Kombat 4. It's a great game. You can't go wrong with it. Mortal Kombat 4 Gold. You should just get Mortal Kombat Gold. Mortal Kombat Gold is basically Mortal Kombat 4, but with more content and with more stuff to do. Now, the fatalities in this game were... They weren't the best. And what I mean by they weren't the best is that they were awful.
Eric, Shinnok is dead. The good guys won. You're coming back with me.
Never, Sonya. I agreed to help defeat Shinnok, not turn myself into the Special Forces. The Black Dragon, live on!
The Black Dragon died with Kano. You're the last one, Jarek.
Never!
Come in, Major Briggs. This is Lieutenant Sonya Blade.
Sonya, this is Major Briggs. Come in. Sonya, this is Jax. Are you there?
Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Now, this was like the first Mortal Kombat game that I ever played, and I loved it. I also think Deadly Alliance is just a badass name, so to add Mortal Kombat and Deadly Alliance together, it's just, what a title of a fighting game. Now, Mortal Kombat, so the story of Deadly Alliance is that Shang Tsung and Quan Chi team up to screw everyone over. Now, Shang Tsung finally got his revenge and killed Liu Kang. So Liu Kang is dead. You know, Liu Kang, the guy that defeated Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn again, Shinnok. Now he's dead. I remember when they did that, and I was just so shocked that they just killed basically like the main hero of the game off just like that. That was just a bold and risky move that paid off. Yeah, so this is our first Mortal Kombat game that doesn't have Liu Kang in it, which is just crazy. Now again, sadly enough, the new characters here aren't good. There's Su Hao, who's just... I'm never going to entertain talking about Su Hao. Baricho, who is worse than Su Hao, which is just... Natara. Even Natara... Yeah, I mean, she had potential. And Mocap. Yeah, Mocap appeared, well, as a secret character in this game. And why are the new characters in Deadly Alliance just so bad? But the only good character they had, like new character they had, was Kenshi. But everyone else was terrible. Well, Kenshi and Frost was okay. Like, I personally like Frost, but other than that, they were all just awful. And, you know, Mortal Kombat Gold, like this is just coming off the top of my memory. Mortal Kombat Gold came out in 1997. Deadly Alliance came out in 2002. So that's 5 years without a Mortal Kombat game, which is just, that is a really long gap. And of course, when Deadly Alliance came back, they scaled the fatalities back to 1, because every Mortal Kombat game before Deadly Alliance, except Mortal Kombat 1, like each character has like 2 fatalities, per character. But here, it's been scaled back down to 1. It's bad when Mortal Kombat 4 had better finishers than Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. The finishes here were just so bad. Like, Quan Chi has like the worst fatality I have just ever seen. Like, yeah, it was just so comical and bad at the exact same time. But even if you want to look it in a different direction, it's just, no matter what, it's a terrible fatality. Like, ew. And I'm also not a fan of Sub-Zero's design, or default design. I just don't like how he looks like an old man. Now, I know that there was some like crystal or just some artifact that made him age, which is, I mean, if that's the case, then just make him wear his mask all the time. Like, I don't want to see his old wrinkly face. Like, if Sub-Zero gets hard done by with his designs in these games, in Deception, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Oh my god, why does Sub-Zero look so terrible in Deadly Alliance and Deception? It's unacceptable. And the new characters were unacceptable. I only liked Kenshi, and Frost was okay. I hated all the other characters. God damn it. Oh my god. Now, Mortal Kombat Deception was the first game to have a conquest mode. Now, the conquest mode here wasn't really a conquest mode, it was just mission after mission. Deception was when conquest mode became its own thing. Conquest mode was like the best thing to ever happen to Mortal Kombat, and I think it is stupid and completely brain dead that Mortal Kombat 9, X11, 1 just didn't have a story, that they didn't have a conquest mode. At least Mortal Kombat Armageddon, a game that a lot of people don't like, including me, at least that game had a conquest mode. Well, I just don't understand, because of course in the new Mortal Kombat games they had story mode, which basically, I don't like story mode. Again, that's a rant for another day. Just know that story mode is awful and conquest is just goated. It is really just goated. But see, the reason why a lot of people don't like Deadly Alliance is just the fatalities was just, every card had one fatality, and most of them were just bad. And the new characters were just bad. Like, how can you have Su Hao and Barocho in the same game? Like, that's disgraceful. And mocap on top of it. Like, thankfully Meat was in MK4. Otherwise, this would just, you would just get a lot worse. Now, the semi-boss of this game is Moloch. Yeah. Yeah, he's just a big guy. No, that's literally it. He's just a big guy you have to fight. So he's basically Goro. Yeah, he's literally just Goro, but less cool. Yeah. There's not much to say about it. I mean, he looks alright. But the writers didn't give a damn about him, so realistically, why should we? Oh, the new characters in this game were so bad. They were so bad. As I said before, all of the new characters were awful. Like, Kenshi was like the only good new character in Deadly Alliance. I mean, Frost was okay. Li Mei, I just found her, but like, she's a good character to fight with, but besides that, she's just average, very, very average. But I do like how in Deadly Alliance you have all of these fighting styles. That's very interesting and very, very cool. Kenshi was really like the highlight of the game. Even though he's a lot like Ermac, and I would also have liked to have Ermac here as well, but at least Ermac is in the next game. And let's not get started on Reptile. This is the Mortal Kombat game that I officially gave up on Reptile. Just no. Like, I feel sad for any Reptile fans out there, but what they did to Reptile in this game was just dirty. And I mean dirty. And I don't know how Kano's alive again. Like, I don't think they explained it. I can easily be wrong on that. I always like to just think that Quan Chi and Shang Tsung Quan Chi and Shang Tsung just resurrected him so he could work for them. Well, I mean, it didn't bother me that much. At least we didn't get Jarek or they created some new Black Dragon character who will end up being awful. So I'll take Kano. Like, even if they never really explain how he came back, I'll take it. And I also like how Kano is carrying just a piece of Sonya's hair. I find that very creepy, but that's what makes it really, really cool. Like it a lot. And Raiden is like 7 foot, which is just... Who knew he could be that tall? Who knew? Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance also brought back Test Your Might from Mortal Kombat 1, and there's also Test Your Sight, like all of these fun mini games that I wish that the newer Mortal Kombat game has. So it is very nice that they implemented, like they added it here. Really, really nice. It just sucks that it's just not in the newer Mortal Kombat games. Of course, there's like other stuff that replaces Test Your Might, Test Your Sight, but I always just preferred this because it was just more fun and just more classic. And I also hate how Kung Lao doesn't have his hat. Like, of course, in his alternate, costume, he has the hat. But I feel like, I'm talking about his default costume. His default costume doesn't have the hat. Like, I don't care what version of Kung Lao it is, he should always have the hat. Like, Kung Lao without his hat is just... No. That's just unacceptable. It shouldn't be allowed. No. Now let's talk about Mortal Kombat Deception. This is my favourite Mortal Kombat game out of the whole franchise. There's just so much content and just so much stuff to do. Like, Mortal Kombat Conquest mode here is just... Oh my god, it's amazing. I take it to a whole new level. Like, there's just so much to do. It's amazing. There's also puzzle combat, chess combat. It's just like, this is the problem that I have with like the new Mortal Kombat games. It's just that they don't learn from Deception. Like, the reason why Deception was amazing is because there's just so much to do. Like chess combat, Mortal Kombat, but with Mortal Kombat, but as chess. If like Mortal Kombat characters as chess, it's just, oh my god, that's just a dream. This is someone who loves chess and Mortal Kombat. That is just a dream come true. Oh my god, it's so amazing. Like, of course, there are I want to say there's some downsides. Of course, the AI, to be fair, the AI in every Mortal Kombat game is just terrible. But see, as great as Deception is, the newer Mortal Kombat characters, the new Deception characters was just they weren't that good. I mean, the only one that I liked was Havoc. Like, he had potential until, of course, the new Mortal Kombat game screwed his character up. Like, the Havoc here was underrated. Like, he was underrated here. And the new hero of this game, Shujinko. Shujinko, I don't necessarily hate him. Like, he's just an unoriginal character. He doesn't have any... See, a lot of his moves was just copied. Like, he could do Sub-Zero's freeze, Liu Kang bicycle kick. He doesn't have any original moves. He's really unoriginal in that case. Like, I like him in Mortal Kombat Conquest, watching his journey as a kid into an old man. But, as like a character, like, to play with, he's awful in that department. But other than that, no, he's alright. And this game is the return of Noob Saibot, or should I say Noob Smoke. They were bad, like 2 characters in one. Like, that's just a first, and they were badass. And this is the return of Nightwolf and Cabal. It's just, and Jade as well. Like, so many characters just making a return. All that was missing was Striker. Well, of course, he made an appearance in the Conquest mode, which, it's nice. And the fatalities in this game were, I like it. I like the fatalities in this game. Of course, there was some bad, some good, but you can also do harakiris. You can basically kill yourself before the opponent gets to kill you. I don't know why it took them this long to add in this feature, but thank God they added it. But why wasn't this used in any other game? Now, why hasn't the new Mortal Kombat Games used harakiri? Because it's just, killing yourself before letting the opponent kill you. It's just, there was just so many ideas. Like imagine if you could do harakiri in Mortal Kombat 9. Like, just imagine that would just be insane. Not just imagine that for like a split second. Just imagine all of the guilt, and oof. And here's just a fun little fact. Kenshi made his appearance in Deadly Alliance, but Kenshi made an appearance in every game until MK11. He was in Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon, MK9, that's a DLC, MKX. But he wasn't in MK11 because, MK11 is awful. So, yeah, but I like the story of this game. Onana. I feel like Onana was like the first boss since Shao Kahn that kind of, he gave me those main boss vibes. Like, Shinnok just didn't do it for me. He was a good character, but as a boss, he just lacked in that department. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, they were great bosses, but I feel like Onana was just brute force. Like, Onana had everything to be a really good final boss, and he did, to be fair. It's just that for some reason the writers just don't give him that much attention. Like, they give freaking Boruto all this screen time and let Boruto be in all of these games, but they give Onana almost nothing, which is just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy, in my opinion, not humble opinion. Yeah, so basically the Deadly Alliance murked everyone, and Onana, you know what, I think I'm just gonna let it speak for itself.
2 sorcerers, and it seemed as though victory was at hand. But the combined might of Quan Chi and Shang Tsung proved to be overwhelming, even for a thunder god. Raiden was defeated. The Deadly Alliance had won. Their victory was short-lived. As suspicion and lust for power overcame both Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, the former allies turned on each other. The Deadly Alliance was no more. Quan Chi defeated Shang Tsung and reveled in his conquest. But it is said that there is only one true ruler of Outworld. And that ruler had returned. Dragon King. The prophecy had been fulfilled. The Dragon King had indeed returned to Outworld to reclaim his army and impose his dominance. Death awaited all who stood in his way. And so it was that a new alliance was formed out of desperation. Sworn enemies joined forces to combat a greater threat. Raiden began to realize that even their combined might was not enough to defeat the Dragon King. There was only one chance left. Raiden's sacrifice was in vain, for the blast had little effect on the Dragon King. Now Onaga has what he needs to shape the realms as he sees fit. I was the fool who brought him this power. Only I can destroy this threat, born of deception.
And that is why Onana is a badass and why Shujinko is an idiot. Oof. I just love Deception. Like, I really wish I could just remake Deception, of course, like with modern day technology and with modern day graphics. And I feel like it would be like the best thing just in fighting game history. I dare to go that far because Deception is so good. Especially Conquest mode. Like, the fact that they didn't bring Conquest mode in the new Mortal Kombat games will forever confuse me. Like, why wouldn't they do that? Now, anyway, this like sub-boss of, Deception, weirdly enough, it doesn't have one. Well, apparently Noob and Smoke are like the sub-boss. Well, whenever I play, like, it feels like they serve that role as like the sub-boss, which is, I don't mind. They're really, really cool. Of course, I love Noob Saibot. I love Smoke, but even I'm not the biggest fan of Smoke design. Him literally being made out of smoke, that is just stupid. That's like if rain was made out of literal rain. That would just be, it was just, I just don't like Smoke design here. He just looks so, being made out of smoke, that's so stupid. Like, I know his name is Smoke, but that doesn't literally mean he has to be made out of smoke. Like, Rain is called Rain, and he isn't made out of rain. Like, Johnny Cage is called Johnny Cage, but he isn't made out of fucking cage. So why do Smoke dirty like this? Like, luckily enough, Smoke is such a good character. He can survive, his design being just torn apart like this. Like, I honestly do think this is like one of the worst designs just in Mortal Kombat, because it's just ill. And this is coming from a person who loves Smoke. Like, Smoke is like my top 5 favourite like Mortal Kombat ninjas, but god damn, it did him so dirty here. But I think we covered almost everything about Deception. It's just Shujinko just being an idiot. I kind of wish I made Shujinko just a bit smarter, because like Jamashi, which was Onana. Jamashi and Onana is basically the same person, but the way they tricked Shujinko, and it didn't even take that much effort because Shujinko was such an idiot. And for some reason, Baraicha just gets a lot of, Baraicha was in this game. He gets a lot of screen time for God knows why. Which is just, Oh yeah, funny enough, in one of the Deception versions, you can play as Shao Kahn and Goro. Now Shao Kahn, what happened in Deadly Alliance is that Quan Chi and Shang Tsung also killed Shao Kahn, but Shao Kahn had a feeling that someone might betray him, so he set up a clone. So Shang Tsung and Quan Chi basically killed a clone of Shao Kahn while he retreats, and he helped Goro, who was attacked by Noob Saibot. Well, Noob Saibot almost killed him, and Shao Kahn saved Goro's life, so Goro basically pledged his allegiance to Shao Kahn again. So very interesting. You won't be seeing that, like stuff like this, stuff that I just mentioned just won't ever happen in like the new Mortal Kombat games. And as much as I love Deception, the new characters here are terrible. Like, what's his name? Hotaru. He's just interesting idea, just poorly executed, and he has terrible moves. Like, get out of here. But Dark Raiden and Zombie Liu Kang was just, as a kid, I honestly thought that was like the best thing ever. And honestly speaking, I still stand by that. Now, funny enough, Fusion, the God of Wind was supposed to be in this game, but back then fans wanted Raiden in the game instead of, Fusion, which is just very interesting. Very interesting. And Tanya was in this game. I don't mind Tanya. But if it is... Oh yeah, and also Ermac is back in this game. But Ermac is a good guy now, which is just amazing. Like, I love what they do to Ermac in this game, unlike what they do to him in the newer games, when they're just turning him into a testing dummy for everyone to fight. Now, of course, Deception has Cobra, or should I say Ken from Street Fighter. Anyway, let's just, like, we're not even going to talk about Cobra. We're not turning this into a rant. And Kira's in this game. She's awful, but she had potential, but she's still awful. I love the stages, like chess combat. Oh my god! I remember when I used to sometimes skip school just to play chess combat for the whole day, because I thought it was like the best thing ever, and I still stand by that. Now, one quick thing I should mention before moving on: Sub-Zero. I hate his design. Now, Sub-Zero looking at Shredder. Now, Sub-Zero, there's like costumes. I just don't like any of them. Like, the first one's okay, of course, but the one with the ponytail is just, what were they thinking? Like, what did they have against Sub-Zero? Like, why did I try to make him look as just awful as possible? I think, like, Sub-Zero and Smoke has like the worst designs in this game. Like, thank God Reptile wasn't in this game, because just imagine the stupidity they would have done there. Absolute awful. And I fucking hate Cobra. Why does the 3D era characters have just... why are the characters so bad? God damn it. Why do I have Boruto and Cobra in the same game? No. Unacceptable. Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Now, let's talk about why this is a very split Mortal Kombat game. A lot of people love this Mortal Kombat game. And I mean a lot of people hate this Mortal Kombat game. And I'm one of those people who hates it. Now, let's dig into the reason why people do not like this Mortal Kombat game. Now, a lot of people... Now, Mortal Kombat Armageddon... Now, this is supposed to be... Like, at the time, this was supposed to be like the final Mortal Kombat game. And it didn't have any fatalities. It had what it was called a creator fatality, which is awful. It's just... See, the whole point of a fatality is your character has a unique way to kill their opponents. Like, for example, Sub-Zero freezes his opponent to death. Scorpion, remove his mask, skull face, and burn his enemies to death. So they kind of just have... The thing here is just that they all can do the exact same thing, which kind of just takes away what makes a fatality so unique. But that's just my opinion, because if everyone can do the same finishes, then what's the point? It's boring, very repetitive, it drags, and it just goes on forever, and you just think to yourself, why hasn't an opponent died yet? But no, this is a positive I can give to Armageddon. I like the conquest mode. It was more of a brawler, but it was still good. I still like it more than the story modes in the modern Mortal Kombat games, so I will give Armageddon that. But that's all I can. I mean, I like Taven. I think Taven's underrated. Like, a lot of people don't like him. I mean, I can kind of see why, because he does look basic, but I really like his personality. I like his moveset. I like his story. It sucks that Taven is not in part of the new timeline, but maybe that's for the best, considering how bad the writing is in the new Mortal Kombat games. But it's so... it's so weird just playing a Mortal Kombat game and not being able to like finish your opponent, especially knowing that this is supposed to be like the final Mortal Kombat game. Of course, because this was supposed to be the final Mortal Kombat game, they had every Mortal Kombat character. They even had Chameleon, like female, male Chameleon, Cobra, Cobra, Mocap, Meat, Shiva, and Striker, who looks awful, but any character you can name it and they were part of this game, except for Tremor. But it's just, on paper it was a good idea, and the final boss of this game was Blaze. No. Just no. The problem with Blaze is just it's just, I felt like every final boss had like something unique about them. Blaze had nothing. He was literally just some guy you fight at the end. That was literally it. Normally I wouldn't mind that, but this was supposed to be like the final Mortal Kombat game, and this was the villain they really came up with. Like, seriously, the reason why I didn't like Shinnok as the final boss is just he didn't give off the final boss vibes. And honestly speaking, Blaze didn't as well. He was just... You remember that guy... You remember in Mortal Kombat 2, in that stage, where you could see one character, which the Mortal Kombat fandom like to call Humbuckle, and the other guy... Yep, that guy is the final boss right there. It's just... Like, I give them credit for trying to make it work, but for me, it just didn't work. And Mortal Kombat... If it was just basically Mario Kart, but with Mortal Kombat characters, it was okay. It was fun at first, but it drags on really, really quick because you can't select every character. You can only select a certain amount of characters, which is just kind of annoying. But it didn't bother me too much. And the other new character is Dagon. He's okay. Yeah, that's literally it. He's okay. Well, I will admit, out of like the 3D Mortal Kombat games, this one had like the best intro, because if you seen that intro, you would just think to yourself that this has to be like the best Mortal Kombat game, because that intro alone just makes it the best until you actually play the game and you're just like, oh wait, what's this? Because that's the problem with Mortal Kombat Armageddon, because if you play the game, you just get bored, because I feel like the fighting engine isn't that strong here, because I feel like the fighting engine in Deadly Alliance, Deception, and even Mortal Kombat 4 were better, but when it comes to Armageddon, I feel like the fight engine was just not that strong, and that it really, really drags out, and it doesn't help the fact that you can't do any fatalities. And I'm just basing this off my memory, but like every character used to have 3 fighting styles, but I swear they had like 2 now, and the bosses had like 1. But I swear some of the bosses don't even have any, which is just insane. And the problem with Armageddon is that the bosses in this game don't really feel like bosses. Of course, I kind of do understand why they had to nerf them, but I remember when you used to play the old school Mortal Kombat games where you play as Kentaro, and you could just, all you literally had to do was just punch and you would win the fight. It just didn't feel like you had the same, power here. Like, it just felt like no one felt overpowered here. in my opinion, other than Scorpion and Noob Saibot, but that's just because I just know how to use those characters. But see, the thing is, I wouldn't recommend Armageddon because there's just nothing, you know, fabulous about it. Like, really enough, I will still take this over Mortal Kombat 9 because I still felt like they were somewhat trying, if you know what I mean. And I really do like Taven. I stand by, he is underrated. He really, really is. But I think that is it for this video. Let me know if you'd agree or disagree with any, and I will see you all in the next video, and I'm out. Well, yeah, quick thing I want to mention, this is just one last thing I want to mention, the power scaling. I feel like, of course, power scaling is an issue in every fighting game, but I feel like in Mortal Kombat it stands out for the wrong reasons, because of course there are power scaling issues in the original timeline, but they found a way to balance it out, unlike in the new timeline. Because if you're telling me that Kun Jin beats Kotal Kahn, then that's just, there's just some matchups I just can't accept that exists. Like, how does Striker, don't get me wrong, I like Striker, but how does Striker beat Kentaro? Like, explain me that. Like, that just makes no sense, because Kentaro is supposed to be like a sub boss, and if you're telling me that Striker beats him, like, I have nothing against Striker, but come on, it's Striker and it's Kentaro. Like, stuff like that would just never happen in the original timeline. Because in the original timeline, the writers were smart, because they will have characters, you know, like look at Shijinka, for example. He had the ability to basically absorb fighting styles of, you know, characters, which he can absorb any fighting style of any character, which means he could basically beat anyone. So if Shijinko beats Goro, for example, it will make sense because he had absorbed multiple fighters beforehand. Or Taven is like a half, yeah, he's like a half guard. So if Taven defeated someone like, let's say Scorpion, it will make sense because Taven is a half guard. While here, like in the original, in the new timeline, Striker beating Kentaro will just never make any sense to me. Or Cyber Sub-Zero defeated Kentaro and Goro. Like, Cyber Sub-Zero is very strong, yeah, but for him to defeat Goro and Kentaro is just ridiculous. And I'm noticing that I'm ranting now, and I think I'm just gonna end the video now, because I have to end the video, or I would just be ranting for like 2 hours. But that is it for real this time. And before I leave, play the original Mortal Kombat games and not the new ones. Trust me, you will have a better time. And I'm out for real this time.